Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Now, I want to talk to you about various things to do with welfare and jobs. But first of all, it would be remiss of me not to ask you about, obviously, the big story today about the EU summit.
Sure.
Got a deal, surrender summit, Brexit, basically, surrender as far as we can tell. We've gone through all the different things, agriculture and fisheries and the like. But we also know that we're going to have to pay a sum into the EU in return for this. As Sam Armstrong pointed out, it's almost like the Chagos Islands deal. We constantly just give away anything we can possibly give away and then say, and how much would you like me to pay you to give you this thing? Do you have any idea what number we're talking about? Is it, £3.50, or are we talking in the tens of billions we're going to be giving the EU?
Unfortunately, Julia, I've got absolutely no idea.
Do you think they have an idea?
I think the EU just, want the principle that we're going to be paying some. I mean, the UK government has said they reckon this deal is going to be worth to us $9 billion. So it's going to have to be, the amount we're paying them, we'd be talking in the millions. Otherwise, they wouldn't be putting figures out like that. But obviously, it's as you say, it doesn't show us in the best light in terms of our ability to negotiate.
Exactly. And in terms of whether there is going to be a benefit to us, greater trade with the EU if we align with them on rules, but of course that will impact our ability to trade. Oh, by the way, while I'm saying that, right now in central London, we do actually have Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, and Ursula von der Leyen, and someone else, I'm not quite sure who that is, and they're just about to make an announcement on this deal. So it is all happening.
Yep, it's all going on now. The estimates they're putting out suggest it's actually worth like twice as much as the India deal. But with any sort of trade deal, it's about what they're promising in the future. And if you're boring enough to actually read the text of the details, so much of it is, oh, well, we'll get a future agreement on this and we'll talk about this. So it's more about sort of what goes there and how much further Starmer feels he can push it politically.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing, isn't it? When you say, well, got a deal, and even the same with the Trump deal, that phone call we had the other week with him, that sort of, oh, we've got a deal, we're going to agree. Once you've kind of like booked a summit or told everyone you've got a deal, they kind of got you over a barrel. You kind of have to agree to things at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And with every deal we've done 3 deals now, I'm sort of staggered by the cons of it. So with the India deal, the immediate reaction was about the national insurance giveaway. And with this deal, all the focus is on fishing for, obvious reasons that you've been discussing. And I think if Number 10 were a bit smarter, they could have, there was a way to trail this to say that the fishing industry is still protected. The fishing industry is a tiny part of our economy, et cetera, et cetera. But they've just done none of that. And yet again, they've got no control over the headlines.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we shall wait and see. By the way, I've just found out who the third person is on stage who's speaking now. It's an Antonio Costa, the President of the European Council. There. Isn't everyone happy to know that? Look, let's talk about what's going on back here as well, because, look, there's going to be a lot of trouble for Keir Starmer from, pretty much everyone in the opposition, apart from the Lib Dems and Greens, who'll be, just orgasmic with joy at this, although it won't go far enough for them, but over this EU deal. But he's facing a lot of trouble on his backbenches. In particular, we've got Red Wall MPs. They may not be happy with this because they know it's going to go down very badly with a lot of their voters who did vote for Brexit and voted for Brexit to be got done by Boris Johnson in 2019. But he's also facing a lot of trouble on the left of his party over things like the benefit cap and bids to sort of basically get people off welfare and into work. Not that I think he's actually going to achieve this anyway, but there's some talk about, he said he was going to stick by the 2-child benefit cap, very unpopular on Labour benches. There's some talk about moving to a 3-child benefit cap. Can you explain what that would mean?
Well, I'm honestly staggered to hear this. We've had loads, as you say, in the last few weeks about how they want to water down things like the fuel payments and what they've done on benefits. And simply, the cap just means that above 2 children, you're not entitled to more child benefit or other benefits related to how many children you have. And to up that by 3, or up that to 3, potentially has a staggering effect on the fiscal position of Britain. We already know that health-related benefits, for example, are going to hit 100 billion or near 100 billion in 5 years' time. So this just adds on to a bill that's already totally unsustainable. Yeah. And the worst thing is it's really hard to predict because, I think part of the reason they feel safe about it right now is the birth rate in Britain is low. So the number of families, number of couples and mothers that are likely to have sort of 3 or more children is going down, so they might think it's not a problem. But that's a heck of a gamble, given how expensive these things could be.
But there was also an issue. I mean, it's actually immigrant families who are having more children. As it's 1 or 2 in most non-immigrant families these days. And again, it's very, very simple. You can have as many kids as you want. Just don't expect me to pay for them. Would be my response. And again, if you're already on benefits and needing to, and it's this only this is affecting the crucial impact, financial impact, is people who are on other benefits and haven't got a proper income. If you can't afford to feed the kids you've currently got, maybe don't have another one. I mean, I don't think this is an old-fashioned idea to most people. But what's also interesting, I mean, again, moving it to a 3-child benefit cap, they'll still find people they think this is terrible affliction to. But again, if you've got 4 kids or whatever, then maybe dad should be getting a job. But at the same time, there's lots of talk about getting people off welfare, getting people into jobs. Sure. But a new analysis of a plan to get people back to work. Labour's Back to Work programme has got a detailed assessment looking at how they're going to basically cut welfare by getting people back into work, which is the aim. They reckon fewer than 100,000 people will actually get jobs through the Back to Work programme. It's a full assessment to be published by the Office for Budget Responsibility, the independent body within government. And so it's not actually going to achieve what he says it's going to achieve. This is going to be one of the big issues in the next election, because these numbers are unsustainable and there's no real urge on Labour's side, and total failure on the Tory side when they're in government, to say to people, you can't claim benefits, you're going to have to go and pay for yourselves and get a job.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've spoken about this before. I think it comes down to, if you look at how they came about these reforms, including the plan to get people into work, so much of it was just about keeping the OBR happy and making sure that the headroom number came out again at exactly 9.9 billion pounds. And if
playing with numbers,
Exactly. And if you make policy like that, like this story suggests, it's not actually going to make a serious difference. And clearly, Labour seem to have lost the appetite to reform this. I don't know if they've, clearly Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer realise this is unsustainable, but they have decided that politically they don't want to wear this anymore. And yet again, it's going to be kicked down the road, and there might be little tweaks here and there. But the human tragedy of so many people being out of work and benefits continues. And worse still, this fiscal time bomb just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Meanwhile, as part of this EU deal, we haven't got it finalised yet, we're just going to bring in tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, who knows how many young Europeans, where they've got a 50% youth unemployment rate in countries like Spain and Italy, and they're going to be coming here to do the jobs which apparently our Brits won't do, while we pay our Brits to sit on their backsides. I can't see anything going wrong with that at all, can you? Michael Simmons, economics editor at The Spectator, thank you as always for joining us. Just for that press conference ongoing, Antonio Costa, the President of the European Council, has been saying that this deal is going to engender deeper cooperation. Oh, good. And he says we must be guardians of rule-based order. I don't know what that's in relation to, but there we are. Sam Armstrong, just coming back to this idea of getting people off welfare, not paying people to have more kids when they can't afford the kids they've already got, and getting people back into jobs. We know this government's going to fail on this because they don't really believe in it. They think that everyone on welfare on benefits and everyone claiming, I don't know, whatever the latest problem name tag on what's wrong with them and label they've got, what reason why they can't work, stress, anxiety, whatever it is, they think they're all genuine.
Well, and look, the fact that we can't meet the bill is an economic reality, and I'm just very shocked and surprised that given that we've now got a very experienced economist in number 11 Downing Street.
Very experienced. I mean, she's worked everywhere as an economist for many years.
We haven't quite worked this out yet, but maybe if somebody sends in a customer complaint.
But again, it's no interesting. The Labour Party, you talked about this earlier, the Labour Party used to be about working people, and now it's about people on the dole. It doesn't. It's about rich people in university towns and the well-to-do in Islington and Hampstead, and it's about people on benefits. The people who are most angry at people who they know could work but who are on benefits are the people who get up at 6 a.m. to go to work, often in pretty hard jobs and not very well paid jobs, who go and do the right thing every day to put food on the table and don't claim benefits, pay their own bills, put food on the table for their kids. Those are the people who are most angry about the people who are swinging the lead.
Yeah, the Labour Party's people now have really clear. It's the lanyard classes, it's your university lecturers, your public sector workers, and those, and I take no joy in saying this, but people that are on the fiddle in one way or another, whether they're recent migrants, whether they're people that are trying to get things covered up, etc., whether it's people that are fiddling their benefits. We know who their people are, they know who their people are, and they know who they're going to get to pay for the next 5-10 years of this disastrous government.
Unaffordable. Someone's going to have... It's like the whole, well, it won't put the pension age up for years. Well, good luck with that. At some point, you're going to have to put it up, as they did, by 6 years, effectively. It's all unaffordable. It's just a whole big lie that we can carry on like this.